Howdy guys, today I'm going to share with you 4 proven ways to save money on video games. Also, I'm going to share with you one thing you might be doing that's losing you money every time you're buying games. If you're a collector like me on a budget, you want to get as many great games as possible for the lowest price. Just to let you guys know, I primarily collect 5th through 7th gen games. That's just like my wheelhouse, sort of. I'm definitely into the 3rd and 4th gen, 2nd gen to a lesser extent, but I've picked up most of my consoles from thrift stores, and sadly, I just haven't come across any 2nd, 3rd, or 4th gen consoles. But this leads me to my first point. Thrift stores are your best friend. And thrift stores are a little bit more difficult because there are going to be other retro game collectors in your area, so there could be competition for games. Having success at thrift stores is all about consistency. You have to be dropping in there multiple times a day, dropping in there multiple times a week, And if you have multiple thrift stores in your area, make sure you're hitting all of them up. Games can come out of nowhere, and you're going to want to know the store's price range. Like, for me personally, I have Savers, Salvation Army, and a St. Vincent de Paul around me. St. Vincent de Paul is the best because all games are a flat rate of $1 a piece. Sadly, they don't stock the games all the time, but that's a great price. And for me to drop in there maybe 3 or 4 times a week, I know that sounds crazy, but if there aren't any games, you're gonna know in a matter of minutes. So it's really just like a 5-minute trip into the store. You check out the games section, there's nothing there. You just walk out and leave. Don't be afraid to buy nothing. For me, my Salvation Army sells all games at $2.99 a piece. It's a little bit more pricey, but since they're pricing all games the same, you can get some great values for $3 a game. That's awesome. The third option in my area is Savers. And Savers is a little bit more weird because they have custom pricing on their games. They price the games however they feel. So once I saw like a Wii U game in there, and even though it was trash, they priced it at $20 because they were like, oh, it's a newer game, it's probably more expensive. So definitely beware of stores with variable pricing. One thing I have had a massive amount of success with at Savers is controllers. Savers usually prices their controllers very reasonably, and if you wanted to turn your game collecting venture into a small business, like a side business, where you're buying cheap controllers from Savers and then you're reselling them. So Savers usually has Xbox 360 controllers for like $4 or $5. You can turn around and sell that to even GameStop for like $16 right now if you're a pro member. So that's just instant profit that's leading to you being able to buy more games. Obviously, if you didn't want to sell it to GameStop, you could sell it yourself on eBay and get like $20 for it. So that's up to you. Speaking of GameStop, that leads me to my second tip. Utilize low prices on last-gen games at GameStop. I know GameStop is sort of the evil empire of the gaming world. They're this evil corporation that doesn't seem to care about gamers at all, but you're not necessarily supporting them as much as you're taking advantage of their extremely low prices right now. For last-gen games, there's so many great titles for Xbox 360, Wii, and PS3 that you can get for like $3 to $5 right now. It's insane. Also, GameStop seems to be always having these 2-for-1 sales on their last-gen games, and if you're taking advantage of those, you're getting such a good value on games. Like recently, I got Zelda Twilight Princess for like $12. Kirby's Epic Yarn for $12, and then I got Doom 3 BFG Edition for free. And those were 3 games that I really wanted, and if you wanted to go into a mom-and-pop game store and buy those 3 games, it would cost you more money. And that's where I'm going to get into the one thing you might be doing that is costing you a lot more money on games. And that is, sadly, supporting your local mom-and-pop independent game store. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with supporting local independent stores, but it's just you are definitely spending a lot more money. These stores all have a lot of overhead. They're keeping the lights on, they're keeping a roof over their head, they're paying employees, and their prices are usually higher than eBay. I remember for a short period of time there, I was really trying to support my local stores, and I was trading in games to them and then buying games from the stores with that credit. And that's definitely a strategy, but I was getting like 20% of the value that I could get selling the games on eBay, and the games that I was buying with that credit were above eBay prices, so it was really just an overall loss. Now, like I stated previously, I don't guilt anyone or want to make anybody feel bad for supporting their local stores. I'm just saying, if you're on a budget, it might not be realistic for you. And I was talking about eBay in this previous section, and I would recommend that as a way to get cheap games. You're not always going to find good prices on eBay, but if you set up notifications for the search terms of games you're looking for, you will be notified daily of new listings for those games. I've had some really great successes with this method. I got the game Siren for PlayStation 2 for like $7 complete in box, just because I was the first one to get to that listing. I also got Call of Cthulhu for the Xbox, the original Xbox, which is like a $40 game right now. It was listed for $28, but it was also best offer on there. And I ended up getting down the person to $20 for a complete copy of Call of Cthulhu. That's pretty much half price for the game. I've seen it listed at like $50 or $60 at my local game stores. So eBay is definitely a valuable tool. Also, buying in lots on eBay. I know it's not always like the best to buy a bunch of games at once, but a lot of the times you can get really good values of people just trying to move quantity. All right, you've made it. We are at the final secret method for getting cheap games. This one's very specific, and you might not have this store in your local area, but FYE is currently having some of the best sales ever on 7th gen games. So Wii, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. All games at FYE in that generation are 90% off right now. So you will pay 10% of what the original sticker price is. And, oh god, it's so amazing. There's not too much to be said about this other than the fact that I got like 10 Xbox 360 games for like $12, I think it was. I got Dead Rising for 40 cents, Eat Lead, The Return of Matt Hazard for $1.30, Sniper Elite V2 for $2, DuckTales for like $2. I don't care who you are, 40 cents for a game is amazing. But as I stated before, this might be region specific. I only have one FYE within like 30 minutes of me, and then the next one's like 2 hours away. So that's a little bit out of my range. I'm not really willing to go all the way down there. The last big piece of advice is to just be an informed consumer. Know what things are worth before you go ahead and purchase them. Because sometimes I've gotten screwed out there. Like, I bought Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, guessing that it was the expensive one, but then it wasn't the expensive one, so I actually paid like $10 for a game that's not really worth much at all. So overall, be informed, be consistent with when you're going to these stores, try and be in there multiple times a week if you can, and you will have success. So with a combo of thrift stores, GameStop, FYE if you have one around, and eBay, you can get a lot of games for not that much money. You just have to do the work. This is a super long video and not really my normal thing, so let me know if you liked this gaming topic. This is something that I'm really passionate about, and I'd love to talk about it more, so suggest anything gaming related you might want me to start a conversation about. See you later, Cuestars.
Skinner!